I've been lying in this corner for what feels like days. My paws are tucked under my chest. My tail is pressed flat against the floor, and my ears are drooping so low they almost touch my shoulders. The house is loud tonight. There are barks and yips and the clatter of claws on the wooden floor. The smell of roasted meat and spilled gravy hangs in the air, but my stomach is too tight to feel hungry. I'm just watching the one I love the most ignore me. His name is Ethan. He is a German Shepherd, the most beautiful dog I have ever seen. His coat is the color of dark coffee, thick and glossy, and when he stands tall, his head reaches almost to the waist of the humans. He has eyes the color of honey, and when he looks at you, you feel like you are the only creature in the world. I used to be the only creature in his world. Now, I am just the shadow that follows him from room to room, hoping for a glance. Tonight, he is surrounded by other dogs. They are all from the big houses on the hill, purebreds with shiny collars and well-brushed tails. They laugh and play and wrestle on the expensive rug. But the one who has captured Ethan's attention is a tiny white puffball named Nina. She is a Pomeranian, no bigger than a loaf of bread, with a silky coat that looks like cotton candy. She prances around on her little legs, yapping in a high, squeaky voice, and every time she does, Ethan's tail wags a little faster. I remember when that wag was for me. I remember the day I first came to this house. At IT was raining, and I was scared that I had been sick to something in my chest that made me cough and wheeze. And my first human, an old woman named Rose, had held me close and whispered that she had to let me go because she couldn't afford the medicine. I didn't understand then. I just knew that her hands, which had always been warm and gentle, were trembling when she handed me over to the man in the big car. I ended up in a cage with other dogs, all of us waiting for someone to choose us. I was the smallest, the quietest, the one who coughed the most. Nobody looked at me twice, until Ethan came. He was just a puppy then, barely a year old, all legs and floppy ears and boundless energy. He bounded into the shelter like he owned the place, sniffing every corner, barking at every shadow. And then he saw me. I was huddled in the back of my cage, trying to make myself as small as possible. He pressed his nose against the wire and whined softly. His honey-colored eyes were full of curiosity, not pity. That night, he brought me home. The first few months were the happiest of my life. Ethan showed me every inch of his territory. The sunny spot by the window, the soft rug in the living room, the big bowl that was always full of crunchy kibble. He let me sleep on his bed. A huge, puffy thing that smelled like him and the humans. He would curl his body around me, his heavy head resting on my back, and I would feel so safe I could almost forget the cough that still rattled in my lungs. He was my protector. When we went to the park, the other dogs would sniff me and sneer. They could smell the sickness in me, the weakness. But Ethan would step between us, his hackles raised, a low growl rumbling in his chest. "She's with me," that growl said, and they would back off. He was my comfort. When thunderstorms shook the house, I would tremble and whimper, and he would nuzzle my ear and lick my forehead until I calmed down. He would let me burrow under his thick neck, and the sound of his steady heartbeat would drown out the thunder. He was my world. And then Nina arrived. She came one afternoon in the arms of a human woman who smelled of expensive perfume. She was put down on the floor like a little living ornament, and she immediately started yapping and spinning in circles. Ethan watched her, his head tilted, his ears perked. I could see the spark of fascination in his eyes. IT was the same look he had given me, but brighter, sharper. At first, it was just small things. He would share his food bowl with her, nudging the kibble toward her with his nose. He would let her steal his favorite chew toy and not even growl. He would follow her around the yard, his tail held high, while she pranced and yapped in her silly little dance. Then the nighttime changed. Ethan and I used to curl up together on the big bed, but one night, he didn't come to the bedroom that I waited for him, my ears straining for the sound of his paws on the stairs. I heard him in the living room, playing with Nina. I padded down the hall and found them wrestling on the rug, his big paws gently pinning her tiny body while she squealed with delight. I whined softly, a sound I hoped would remind him of me. He looked up, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of the old Ethan. He got up and walked toward me. But Nina let out a sharp, demanding bark, and he turned back to her. I spent that night alone on the cold floor by the bedroom door. Over the next few weeks, the pattern repeated. I would try to approach Ethan, to nuzzle his neck or lick his ear, and Nina would always find a way to interrupt. She would jump on his back or bring him a toy or just yap until he looked at her, and he always looked at her. I started trying to reclaim my place on the bed. Every night, I would approach him with my tail low, my ears flat, my whole body a picture of submission. I just wanted to be close to him again. I would put a tentative paw on the edge of the mattress, and he would hesitate. I could see the old kindness warring with the new fascination. But then Nina would let out a sharp, irritated yip from her little basket on the floor, or she would jump up and start grooming his ears, and he would turn away. This happened 99 times. 99 nights of hope and 99 nights of rejection. I kept count in my heart because that was the only thing I had left. Tonight, the house is full of guests. There are dogs everywhere, big ones, small ones, fluffy ones, sleek ones. They are all here to celebrate something. I don't understand the human words, but I know it's important because Ethan has been strutting around all day, his chest puffed out, his tail held like a flag. Nina is in the center of everything. She is wearing a little pink ribbon around her neck, and she is performing for the crowd. She does tricks, roll over, play dead, spin in a circle. Every time she finishes, the other dogs bark and wag their tails, and Ethan is right there, nudging her with his nose, licking her cheek. I am in the corner, forgotten. Then I see Nina trot toward the bedroom. My heart lurches. That is my bedroom. That is my bed, and I scramble to my feet and follow her, my claws clicking on the hardwood. She pushes the door open with her little nose and jumps onto the big bed. She rolls in the center, rubbing her back against the pillow, spreading her scent everywhere. A low growl builds in my throat. I can't help it. It's the only thing I've left to claim. I rush into the room, growling, my hackles raised, but Ethan is right behind me. He slams his body into mine, hard, pushing me away from the bed. He lets out a deep, thunderous bark that echoes off the walls. It's a command. Stay away. I freeze. MY tail tucks between my legs. MY ears flatten so hard they press against my skull. All the other dogs have gathered at the door. Watching, I can feel their stares like needles. Nina lifts her head from the pillow and looks at me with her dark, beady eyes, and then she does something I will never forget. She smiles. It's a tiny, unmistakable curl of her lips, a sneer that says, "You lose." I back out of the room. I back out of the house. I find myself in the yard. Under the cold night sky, the rain starts to fall, a thin, miserable drizzle that seeps through my thin coat. I shiver, but I don't move. I just lie down on the wet grass and stare at the lit window where I can see Ethan and Nina playing on the rug. Hours later, the party winds down. Ethan comes out into the yard. He is alone. For a moment, my heart leaps. Maybe he's come to find me. Maybe he's sorry. He walks up to me and sniffs me. I hold my breath, waiting for a kind word, but his nose wrinkles. He can smell the sickness in me, the old illness that never fully left. It's a sour, metallic odor that clings to my fur. He steps back and lets out a series of short, sharp barks. They are not barks of concern. They are barks of disgust. "You're damaged," those barks say. "You're useless. Why did I ever keep you?" The words hit me like physical blows. I can feel them in my chest. In my bones, I look up at him, and I see no trace of the puppy who rescued me. I see only a stranger. A cold, proud stranger who has already chosen someone else. He turns and walks back inside. The door clicks shut behind him. I spend the rest of the night in the rain. I don't sleep. I just lie there, my mind churning through memories. I remember the first time Ethan licked my ear. I remember the first time he let me sleep on his bed. I remember the way he growled at a much bigger dog who tried to steal my food. I remember the warmth, the safety, the love. And now I have none of it. The next morning, the rain stops, but the cold remains. I hear the humans moving inside. I hear Nina's high-pitched yap. I hear Ethan's heavy footsteps. I don't go inside. I can't. I don't belong there anymore. I wander away from the house. I don't know where I'm going. I just walk. My paws are sore, my ribs are aching, and my throat is dry. But I keep walking. I find myself on a familiar street. It's the street where Rose lives. Rose is the old woman who saved me when I was a tiny pup, the one who gave me my name. I haven't seen her in years, not since she gave me away because she couldn't afford my medicine, but her smell is still in my memory. Lavender soap, warm bread, and that soft, safe scent of a home. I follow the smell to a little house with a white fence. The gate is unlatched. I push it open with my nose and pat up the walkway. The door is slightly ajar. I push it open and step inside. The house is quiet. The furniture is old and worn, but it's clean and smells like her. I find her in the back room, lying on a bed. She is so still. Her white hair is spread across the pillow, and her hands are folded on her chest. For a terrible moment, I think she is gone. But then her eyelids flutter, and she sees me. Her eyes widen. A faint smile touches her lips. "Clara," she whispers. Her voice is thin and reedy, like a dry leaf. "Is that really you?" I whine and trot to the bedside. I put my head on the mattress and nuzzle her hand. She strokes my ear, and the touch is so gentle, so familiar, that my eyes sting with tears. I can't cry. "Oh, my sweet girl," she murmurs. "You've come back." I stay with her. I don't leave her side. She is weak, so weak. She can barely lift her hand to pet me. Her breathing is shallow and rattling. Did I know that sound? It's the same sound I used to make, the sound of a lung that's fighting to work. She needs medicine. She needs the kind of help that only a vet can give. The closest vet is at Ethan's house because his human is a healer. They have the supplies. I know this because I've seen the little bottles and the needles in the cabinet. I have to go back. I have to get help for Rose. She is the only one who ever truly loved me. She gave me my first home, my first name, my first feeling of safety. I can't let her suffer. I leave Rose's house and run. I run faster than I've ever run in my life. My legs ache, my lungs burn, and a sharp pain stabs at my side. But I don't stop. I weave through streets, dodge cars, leap over fences. I am a dog on a mission. I reach Ethan's house. The yard gate is closed, but I squeeze through a gap in the hedge. I run to the back door and bark. I bark until my throat is raw. I bark with all the desperation in my soul. The door opens. Ethan stands there, his head high, his eyes cold. He looks at me like I'm a stranger. Behind him, I see Nina. She is holding a little plastic bottle in her mouth to toy. And she drops it at her feet and yaps at me. "Go away," her yap says. "Can't you see we're busy?" I ignore her. I look at Ethan. I whine and paw at the door, then look back toward the street, trying to show him that I need him to follow me. He just stares. I try to push past him to get into the house where the medicine is, but he steps in front of me, his body blocking the doorway. He lowers his head and growls. A low, dangerous sound that I've never heard from him before. He gives me a hard shove with his shoulder, and I stumble backward. "Leave," the growl says. "And don't come back." The door slams shut. I stand there, frozen, my heart pounding. I bark again, but there's no answer. I scratch at the wood until my paws are sore. Nothing. I don't know how long I stay there. It feels like hours. Finally, I realize that Ethan is not going to help me. He has chosen Nina. He has chosen his new life. I am nothing to him. I turn and limp back toward Rose's house. My body feels like it's made of lead. Every step is a struggle. By the time I reach the white fence, the sun is setting. The house is dark. No light shines in the windows. My heart sinks. I push open the door and walk through the silent rooms till I reach the back bedroom. Rose is still on the bed, but her breathing has stopped. Her hand is cold. Her face is peaceful, but her chest doesn't move. I whimper. I nuzzle her hand. I lick her fingers. Nothing. She is gone. A sound rises from my throat, a sound I've never made before. It's a long, broken howl that tears out of my chest like a piece of my soul. I howl until my voice cracks and my throat burns. I howl for Rose. I howl for the old life I lost, and I howl for the Ethan who used to love me. And then I stop. The silence is deafening. I don't belong here anymore. I don't belong anywhere. The one person who truly loved me is dead, and the one I loved more than anything has thrown me away. I have no home, no family, no reason to stay. I walk out of Rose's house. I don't look back. I just start walking. The streets become unfamiliar. The houses become fewer. The pavement gives way to dirt, and then to grass, and then to thick, dark woods. The trees close in around me, their branches blocking out the sky. The air grows cool and damp. I don't care where I'm going. I just put one paw in front of the other. I walk all night. When the dawn comes, gray and muted, I am deep in the forest. My legs give out, and I collapse under a giant oak tree. The ground is carpeted with wet leaves. I curl into a tight ball and close my eyes. I am so tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of hoping. Tired of loving someone who doesn't love me back. I just want to sleep. I want to stop feeling. The rain starts again. It falls in cold drops that seep through my fur and chill me to the bone. I shiver, but I don't move. I just lie there, waiting for the darkness to take me. And then I feel it. A warmth. A presence. A familiar scent. It's a scent from a very long time ago. It's the smell of wild grass and open plains, mixed with a strange, sweet smell of a dog who lives in the wild. I open my eyes. A large, dark shape is standing over me. It's a dog. He is bigger than Ethan, with a thick coat of grayish-brown and brilliant, intelligent eyes. He has a long, pale scar running down his neck, cutting through the fur like a white river. My heart stops. I know that scar. I know it because I gave it to him. When we were both puppies, I was separated from my mother. A bigger dog was picking on me, snapping at my ears and pushing me into the mud. I was terrified. Then a small, scruffy puppy, this dog ran in and stood between us. He growled and bared his teeth. Even though he was smaller and weaker, the bigger dog slunk away. I was so scared that I bit him, that I sank my teeth into his neck, drawing blood. He yelped but didn't bite back. He just licked my face and stayed with me until the rain stopped. We were found by humans and taken to a shelter. I was adopted by Rose a few days later. He was gone before I could thank him. And now he's here, in this dark forest, looking at me with those intelligent eyes. He whines softly, a gentle, questioning sound. He lowers his head and licks the tears from my face. His tongue is rough and warm. He nuzzles my cheek, then nudges my side with his nose, urging me to stand. I can't. I'm too weak. I just shake my head and whimper. He doesn't give up. He lies down beside me, his huge body forming a barrier against the wind and rain. I can feel his heartbeat, strong, steady, reassuring. His warmth seeps into my frozen limbs. He drapes his neck over mine, and I feel something I haven't felt in a long time, safety. We lie there for what seems like hours. The rain eventually stops. A sliver of sunlight breaks through the clouds. He lifts his head and looks at me. He gets up, walks a few steps, and turns back. His ears are pricked, his tail raised like a question mark. He wants me to follow him. I don't know if I can. My legs feel like they're made of stone, but I look into his eyes, and I see something there. Not pity, not disgust, just hope. Slowly, painfully, I pull myself to my feet. My whole body aches. My joints creak. But I stand. I take one step, then another. I start walking toward him. He wags his tail to small, encouraging wag, and leads the way into the deeper forest. I followed. I don't know where we're going. I don't know if there's food or water or shelter. I don't know if he's leading me to safety or just to another place to rest. But I follow him because when I look at him, I don't see the dog who hurt me. I see the dog who protected me when we were both pups. I see the dog who found me in the rain and didn't turn away. I see the dog who carried the scar I gave him, and yet he came back to help me. We walk for a long time. The trees thin out, and we come to a small clearing. There's a little stream trickling through the center, and the water is clear and cold. I drink until my belly is full. He watches me, then lies down on a patch of soft moss, his eyes still fixed on me. I lie down beside him. This time, I'm not shivering. The sun is warm, and his body is warm, and for the first time in months, I don't feel completely alone. I don't know what the future holds, and I don't know if I'll ever see Ethan again, or if I even want to. I don't know if I'll ever fully heal from the pain of losing Rose. But right now, in this moment, I am alive, and I am not alone. The scarred dog lifts his head and licks my ear. It's a small gesture, but it feels like a promise that he will stay, a promise that I don't have to face the world by myself. I close my eyes, and for the first time in a very long time, I sleep without dreaming of the cold. Later that evening, I wake to find him gone. For a panicked moment, I think he's abandoned me too, but then I hear rustling in the bushes, and he emerges with a bone in his mouth. He drops it at my feet and nudges it toward me. It's not much, but it has a little meat left on it. I eat it, and the strength begins to return to my limbs. We stay in the clearing for several days. He brings me food. Sometimes scraps he's found, sometimes small animals he's caught. He never eats before I do. He always watches me first, making sure I'm okay. He lets me sleep in the warmest spot, closest to the stream, while he stands guard at the edge of the clearing. I start to learn his patterns. He likes to hunt at dawn and dusk. He has a favorite spot under a large pine tree where he watches the sun set. He doesn't bark much, but he communicates through his eyes. A look that can be a question, a reassurance, or a warning. I try to ask him his name, but he just cocks his head and wags his tail. So I give him one, Max. It means greatest, and that's what he is to me. One night, as we lie side by side under the stars, I start to think about Ethan again. The pain is still there, but it's duller now. I realize that what I had with Ethan was never really love. At least, not the kind of love that lasts. He loved me when I was convenient, when I made him feel good about himself. But the moment I became inconvenient, the moment Nina appeared, he discarded me like a broken toy. Max doesn't love me for what I can give him. He loves me because I exist. He didn't have to come find me. He didn't have to share his food or protect me from the cold. He did it anyway. And that is the truest thing I've ever known. I press my nose to his neck, and he lets out a soft, contented sigh. I don't know if I'll ever go back to the world of humans. I don't know if I'll ever see Rose's garden again, or the big house with the soft rug. I don't know if I'll ever forgive Ethan for what he did. But I know one thing for certain. I am not the same dog who left that house. I am stronger. I am braver. And I am loved. The forest is not a home. It's a wilderness, full of dangers and unknowns. But with Max by my side, it feels like the beginning of something new. Something that is mine. And as I drift off to sleep, I hear Max's heartbeat, steady and strong. And I think, this is what it means to be found. Not by a place or by a person, but by someone who sees you, even in the dark, and chooses to stay. I don't remember how many days pass. Time moves differently in the forest. It's measured by the angle of the sun, the sound of the birds, the changing temperature of the air. Max and I have settled into a rhythm. We hunt together, drink together, sleep together. He teaches me where the best berries grow and how to find water when the stream runs low. I show him how to dig for roots and how to listen for the footsteps of larger animals. One afternoon, as we are resting on a sunny patch of grass, I catch a familiar scent on the wind. It's faint, but unmistakable. It's Ethan. My body tenses. My ears perk. Max notices immediately and rises to his feet, his hackles half raised. He looks at me, his eyes asking, "What is it?" I don't know how to explain it. The scent is a tangle of emotions to fear, anger, and something else I can't name. I start to whine, pacing in a circle. Max steps closer and nuzzles my neck, calming me. I take a deep breath. The scent is growing stronger. It's coming from the direction we came from, the path that leads back to the human world. I don't want to go back. I don't want to see Ethan again. But a part of me, the part that still remembers the puppy who rescued me, needs to know if he's looking for me. I look at Max and he seems to understand. He gives a small, resigned nod, and we start walking toward the scent. We emerge from the forest at the edge of a familiar meadow, and there, at the far end, is Ethan. He's alone. His head is low, his tail between his legs. He looks smaller than I remember, less proud. He takes a few hesitant steps toward us, then stops. He whines a soft, uncertain sound. He looks at me, and for a moment, I see a flicker of the old Ethan, the one who loved me. He takes another step, then another. But Max steps in front of me. He doesn't growl. He doesn't bare his teeth. He just stands there, a solid, immovable wall between me and the past. He looks at Ethan with steady eyes, and he says, without words, "She's not yours anymore." Ethan stops, he looks at me, and I see something like regret in his eyes. He takes one more step, but Max holds his ground. Ethan whines again, but this time, it's a sound of surrender. He turns and walks away, his tail dragging on the grass. I watch him go. The pain is still there, but it's fading. I realize that I don't need him anymore. I don't need his approval or his love. I have found something better. I have found myself. Max looks back at me, his tail wagging softly. I walk up to him and press my head against his chest. He licks my forehead, and we turn away from the meadow, back toward the forest. We don't talk about what happened. We don't need to. The forest is our home now. And as we walk side by side, our paws falling in the same rhythm, I know that I will never be left behind again. Because Max is my home, and I am his. The days grow longer and warmer. The forest blooms with wildflowers, and the stream sings a happy tune. Max and I have found a new place, a small cave hidden behind a waterfall, and we make it our den. We line it with soft moss and dry leaves, and we sleep curled together, our hearts beating in sync. I think about Rose sometimes. I think about her gentle hands and her kind eyes. I like to believe that she is watching over me, proud of the dog I've become. I think about the puppy I used to be, scared and sick and alone, and I think about the dog I am now, that's strong, free, and loved. One morning, I wake to find Max already outside, sitting at the edge of the waterfall. The mist rises around him, and the sunlight catches his fur, making him look like a creature from a dream. I trot out to join him, and he turns to me with those brilliant eyes. He nudges my cheek, and I feel a warm rush of gratitude. This dog, who carried my scar on his neck, has carried me out of the darkness. He didn't have to, he chose to. And that choice has given me a second chance. I don't know what the future holds. The forest is full of dangers, hunger, cold, predators. But I'm not afraid, because I'm not facing it alone. We sit together, watching the waterfall, and I feel a peace I never thought I'd find again. I am no longer the dog who was left behind. I am the dog who was followed home. And that is the greatest gift of all.